to the Femme Spot. I'm Essence.
I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Nataliya.
Victoria's not here today, so we have a special guest host. Yes, and you're actually one of the shows. You do another show, The Best Things This Week on Sonic Eclectic.
That's right.
Yep.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to join you guys today.
So happy to have you here.
We have a lot to talk about today. We have a special theme, Jasmine.
Yes, we have, basically we're talking about artist authenticity versus selling out. A lot of people in media are constantly changing themselves, evolving themselves, but how much of that is honest? How much of that is real? How much of that is for the audience, and how much of that is for themselves? We're going
Exactly.
To ask these questions today.
So basically it's like, okay, if you think about it, people start somewhere and then they end up changing. You ever see an artist, they end up changing completely, and it's like, whoa, I've been with you from when you had your first mixtape out, and I see a difference. So what is really authentic to you? What does that mean to you, to be authentic?
I feel like authenticity is believing, like, who you are, I guess, or projecting exactly who you are to everyone. Because, I mean, I know, like, for people in the media, so like let's say like even like small time things that everyone has, social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you can be such a different person and you can portray yourself as a different person than you really are in real life, you know? And what part of that can you discern? You know what I mean? You really can't tell like what somebody's going through, what really somebody's thinking unless they tell you. And there's so much that can be assumed just by like a little tweet here or a little picture there.
True, that happens a lot. I feel like Frank Ocean, for example, when he came out, his music, everyone loved it, and it came out that, you know, he was gay, and then I haven't heard from him since.
Yeah.
His music is good. I hope he comes back out. But I mean, is he a sellout because he's gone now? He doesn't want to show who he is really? Do you think it's because of that, or?
I don't think it's that. I mean, obviously I don't know him personally, but I mean, like, I wouldn't say that he's a sellout. I would define sellout. We have a definition here. Betrayal of one's principles for reasons of profitability or expedience. And I feel like by that basis, I wouldn't say that Frank Ocean is a sellout. I feel like he's kind of just like taking a hiatus right now for reasons that are obviously personal. But I wouldn't say that he's a sellout because he is who he is, you know what I mean? And he's still saying his music the way that it's supposed to be saying to him, you know what I mean? Like if he wanted to change his music at any time, I don't think that he would still sing it that way or still perform it that way. But even after like the whole like, oh, like I'm gay thing like came out, like he didn't try to change his music and he didn't try to change who he was.
Okay, that shows that his authenticity also. It's good. I mean, maybe he's taking the road where he wants to go undercover, just like comedian Dave Chappelle when he moved away. You know, when he had a lot of backlash. I felt like that was built up in the media. Really had nothing to do with him personally, a person who he was. But what do you think about being a sellout or independent artists that turn into sellouts?
I think that authenticity and selling out, that they really become an issue and a question when an artist puts themselves out there like a truth teller, like someone who's here to, be honest about the way they think the world works and about their lives. And when those people change their tune, a lot of people, get upset, fans get upset because now they feel like that person is selling out. But I think some artists never really put themselves out there as truth tellers, and when they change their tune, it's like not as big of a deal.
Like conscious rappers. I
mean, I was thinking more also like Lady Gaga. Like I've never like we don't think that Lady Gaga comes into every room in an egg. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that about Stephanie Germanotta. Like I don't. And I mean, like I don't think she's ever tried to market herself as like, yes, she was avant-garde, but like I never thought of her as this person who was constantly like that. Like behind closed doors, that's how she was. You know, I feel like that was like just a stage presence. And people love that. People ate that up because it was theatrical. You know what I mean? How people love theatrics. Like especially her community, they love theatrics, you know? So I understood like when she was marketing herself as like covering her face and having monsters and this, that, and whatever, none of that was real. So I wouldn't say that she was necessarily a sellout, but I feel like she felt like she was selling out because she I believe she said Like she just wanted to stop doing all these appearances. She just wanted to stay low key and stuff like that, and she just wanted to like sing and do what she came here to do, and she stopped saying yes to all these appearances that she didn't want to go to. And I feel like that's kind of like a reversal. So maybe she felt like she was selling out at one point, and then she was like, I want to stop this. And I applaud her for it, because it's hard to do, especially when you're making a lot of money.
Exactly. I feel like a lot of artists use that now. That's the basis on getting their brand out, is being on social media. And a lot of artists like that made videos where they said they were never going to make videos, or they put more of their business out. They're exposing themselves so much just to get the likes and views of people who probably really aren't genuine followers or fans. And so that inevitably they end up changing their sound, or maybe even the words that they're putting out there, the messages they're putting out. And I think that's what's wrong with being authentic then, because it's not really who you are, it's being fake.
Well, I feel like authentic means that you're not being fake, so it's fake authenticity?
Fake authenticity, I mean, because it's not helping the society.
Right.
So,
I mean, would it be like, don't propose that you're a truth teller?
That you're a truth teller. Yeah. Exactly, yes.
Okay.
So don't propose that you're a truth teller when really you're misleading people.
Yeah, you just want to market. Like, I mean, I don't know, how do we feel about Miley Cyrus? Because I feel like, I don't know, like, this confuses me, because I'm like, she was this young girl and she was on Disney, and I feel like Disney kind of like generates people who sell out. Like you go to Disney to sell out, in my opinion. That's how I feel.
Why?
Just because I feel like they're marketed as like these wholesome people, and it's like when you see like Disney Disney, like young Disney actors, like after the fact, like they're completely different, like 360, and you're just wondering, like, I mean, do they even know who they are? Do they even know that they're selling out? And then do they realize, like, oh, this is not what I want to be anymore? You know what I mean? Obviously, I feel like they do. So similar to Raven Simone, like Raven Simone, another 360. I can't even explain. Like, I just feel like she's a mess. Like, she doesn't know who she is. And that's a problem in itself. I feel like she doesn't love the community that she's a part of. And that's a really big problem. And I feel like once you don't love yourself, you're immediately a sellout, because you're appealing to other people.
Exactly. You have to find who yourself is first. I mean, I feel like Disney is kind of different because they're kids and they don't know who they are yet. And so when you don't know who you are, there's always room for progression and progress and changing, But there's a difference between doing something wrong, like Lindsay Lohan. She has a drug addiction. And basically maybe dressing sexier. Miley Cyrus dresses very extravagantly, like really out there. I mean, who knows? Maybe that's who she grew to be when she was, after she didn't have to dress in the clothes. It is for marketing. What are they gonna do? Put her in those clothes on Disney?
Right,
I mean, it has to appeal to the Disney.
Well, what can we say about Beyonce? Our favorite, but
Beyonce,
a problematic fave here.
No, I can't say anything wrong with her because I love her. She's my favorite performer.
I mean, she's a great performer, but it's like, how much of it do you think is her? You know what I mean? Like, because she's been performing since like birth.
Yeah, and that's totally her. I think she put in so much hard work. Her followers also manage her in the aspect of keeping her on track and making her reach her goals.
Right.
She has said herself that she had said in interviews places where she wanted to be at this point in her life and that point in life when she was 30. And it all seemed aligned. I think she didn't have a childhood, but I think she's doing what she wanted to do.
But I mean, like, I'm speaking more so on like the whole like political aspect of Beyonce, like this whole idea of like, oh, like, well, not to say that like she doesn't believe in the Black Lives Matter movement. I'm not going to say that she doesn't believe in the Black Lives Matter.
Okay, so let's talk about that. The Super Bowl performance where she had backup dancers dressed as Black Panthers.
Yeah, like, I mean, how much of that was like brought on by herself, like, oh, I'm gonna do this now because I'm a big star, and how much of it was like, I'm trying to appeal to an audience. You know what I mean? Because I feel like I'd never, like, there was an SNL skit where what was it, the Beyonce halftime show, like, white people were freaking out because they were like, oh my god, this is not for me, and usually everything is. It was a hilarious skit.
2 seconds. What do you feel about that? About seeing it, because Super Bowl
was hilarious. You know, the white middle-aged woman said, "Oh my God, honey, get in here! I think Beyonce's black."
Oh my God, I didn't see it, but that sounds like
it was so funny, amazing. And it was just like, but like, it's a question that I have, and I'm sure it's a question that other people in the community have, because all of a sudden it's like, oh, Beyonce's black now. Like, Beyonce is identifying with this community, and we're asking why. Because it's monetized? Because a lot of the things that black people enjoy end up being popular? Or is it just because, like, I want to support my community now? You know what I mean?
You know, I think a lot of things are overlooked, and it tends to have the media and society mold other people, like artists, as who they are when you really don't know who they are. For example, when people say that Beyonce lightens her skin, or she has the blonde hair, which kind of
doing that for a while now.
She's been doing that, and that kind of, you know, appeals to like a European beauty standards. So for one, she's very light. She's always been light since she was younger. You can see her mother.
French.
Her mother's light skin.
Yeah.
Blonde hair is a color. Black people come in all different colors, and they have all different shades of hair and eye color. So I feel like when people have that stigma, it's not because of her, it's because of how they feel about themselves. I don't think that's a problem. I think it's about who her character is. And first of all, I wouldn't be able to speak on her character because Beyonce is always low-key.
Yeah, very low-key.
So I think she used her platform to send a message, especially in a time where there's been a lot of police killings, and also from unarmed young black men. And she made a standpoint, and she used the Super Bowl, which is viewed by millions of people, to send that message.
Yeah, I think that was like a wonderful way to use that platform. I mean, I just like, I don't know, it always begs a question in my mind, you know what I mean? You can always wonder about people's intentions, you know what I mean?
Who's being fake?
Yeah. I mean, well, speaking of fake, I feel like Future is kind of fake. I feel like he's said, like, oh, this isn't, like, the person that I advertise in my music isn't the person that I am. And it's like, but there are people who are like that, who are looking up to you because you're speaking about it. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's what I don't like about, like, this whole idea of being a truth teller. You know what I mean? Or projecting yourself as a truth teller, because it's like, there are people who are going through that struggle, and fundamentally, I feel like artistry is about connection. If you're an artist who is projecting something and people respond to that, they're more likely to be your follower. I know that I love Childish Gambino because he proposes this whole idea of like the mixed kid struggle, like the black kid who's too black for the white kids but not black enough for the black kids. You know what I mean? And like that's always a struggle that I personally felt. And like to hear if, like, let's say he were to be like, oh, that really wasn't my struggle at all, I'm just talking about it, I would be devastated, because I was like, I'm connecting to a lie. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's frustrating about this whole sellout concept.
You can't believe it. It's almost all about where the money is, you know?
Exactly.
I mean, Big Sean also touched on that, because he says in his raps that he's really focused on just making money, and he never wants to take off of work. He just wants to get his money, his vacations, the vacations. Is that wrong? Where do you draw the line? I feel like you draw the line at your message. It's always about message. If you're going into whatever field, medicine, sports, or music, it should be something that's going to help people. We are all human beings. If you want to make money or not, don't sit and go take away from your standards, your ethics, your morals because of money. That's where the evil is, you know?
Yeah.
And so I feel like Childish Gambino of artists, you have to be yourself, because that's how you're gonna mess up the world. If you're sitting here saying stuff faking, that's where you come into the question of what is self-image. You know, where people compromise their self-image. What do you think about that? People compromising self-image for money or to gain something for self-gain.
I pretty much agree with what you said.
Is it worth compromising? Do you feel like at some point?
To some people it is. You know what I mean? Like what is fueled by money, and then what is also, I want what's best for myself, and I think this is a good move. You know, like, is it like, are you making this move because of money? Are you making this move because it suits yourself and also it gives you money, you know?
I feel like then you could be hurting yourself. Like Future, you're talking about popping pills and everything, and I don't know but what you hear about the entertainment industry, they really do pop pills. Even The Weeknd talks about like how he's not himself unless he's high. So you're actually making this your lifestyle, and he has kids.
Yeah.
When
like
they grow up
such a
and hear
sad
this,
thing to...
what is that image they're going to have about their father that that's okay to do.
And I feel like a lot of people turn that around on women a lot of the time. Like Kim Kardashian, like she loves taking like semi-nude
Love
or
Kim.
We love Kim here. We love Kim here at this.
She's
show.
been doing the pictures now, saying I have nothing to wear and wearing the bar just over.
And it's so cute. I think it's so cool, and it's so like just like whatever. You know what I mean? Like women should enjoy their bodies, but constantly people are like, "Oh, you're a mother. Like, why would you be doing this? How is your daughter gonna feel when she grows up and she sees this?" First of all, like, why is it never about like dads? You know what I mean? Like how you were saying with Future, like about how like your son, your daughters, like are gonna hear this music, and when like how are they gonna feel?
Justin Bieber, as you see him on terrace butt naked, pictures of him. From the Jonas Brothers. The only one I think is cute. Nick Jonas. You see him in pictures in magazines with holding his I mean, women could be sexy too, and I'm so happy. That's the thing I love about the feminist movement, where it breaks down these social standards and these double standards about with women and men, and shows that women don't have to cover up. Is different ways women feel powerful about themselves. You could be covered up, or you could be fully clothed, or you could be nude. You know, I feel like it's all about the way. It's about the character, and how you act. You know,
I mean, like people could even say that like Kim Kardashian was a sellout. You know what I mean? Because I personally don't think she's a sellout. I think that she was in a situation and she found a way to monetize despite a negative situation. Like it could have been really terrible for her. She could have just like literally disappeared into nothingness and just been a footnote in history as somebody that was betrayed. You know what I mean? Like basically, because that's what it was. Ray J betrayed her by releasing that sex tape. But
I heard so many things. I heard her mom released it. Momager.
Well, I mean, regardless, this is what I assume, because I feel like I heard like a phone call about it and how she was yelling on the she like recorded,
on the show. She was crying when
she
keeping
was,
up with the Kardashians,
like recordings like of like I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. Like this was not her plan. You know what I mean? And I don't.
That was for her Playboy shoot. She was on Playboy, and her mom. She was crying about that. But after she did other nude shoots, it was about that's who she became. So self-image, I guess, does have a social impact, and because when she first had her first baby, North. She was pregnant with her baby. She did a pregnancy shoot. She said because she wanted to remember, just in case her body didn't snap back, what her body looked like before, and it's for her. And people might have condemned her for that, but how much of your self-image could you hold on top of social views and standards? But I actually see this in artwork, like
what?
Michelangelo.
Okay.
Like Michelangelo, he actually he was known for his sculptures. And he started painting for the chapels, and that was one of his best works. You know, he was in love with sculpting, but he progressed onto painting, and that was one of the best works he's known for. And I feel like that's not really selling out.
I wouldn't say that that's selling out, because like I feel like when you're an artist, especially if you're like an artist that works with mediums, there's such a difference between like, oh, like I'm getting paid for this, so I'm going to do it, but also there's this idea of I can do this, and if I can get paid for it, that's freaking awesome. Like I know Jean-Michel Basquiat, my favorite painter, my literal favorite painter, so it hurts me to say this. I feel like in a way he did kind of sell out after becoming friends with another one of my favorite painters, Andy Warhol, just because like
I love his artwork.
Andy Warhol had that status, you know what I mean? And like
this kind of reminds me
a little bit. This is a little bit more Eric Herring, I think, or something like that. But anyway, Aaron Herring. Basically, he started becoming friends with Andy Warhol, and Andy Warhol was like, "Wow, like you do really great work. Like we're gonna put on a gallery show for you. We're gonna do this," and he blew up like overnight. Like literally, people would take down like pieces, like doors that he would tag his name on.
But was he in love with his work? Was it something he truly? Then I don't think that's selling out. I see that's what I mean by Michelangelo changing, progressing into painting and doing something amazing. He still put his 110% effort into it and made it something big. So there's a difference between growth, whether you're a actor, maturing and changing your image. There's a difference, but selling out is when you do something that's basically not who you are, supporting your ethics and your values and your morals, and you're not happy.
Do you feel like
you're doing it from money?
The other thing that I want to tag on to that is that's if you start out as, again, presenting yourself as having good values and being a role model for other people and for society, and then you do questionable things like, maybe Miley Cyrus would be an example of that, or Britney Spears back in my day.
Katy Perry.
Katy Perry. Then you get a lot of flack for your lack of social responsibility and stuff like that. But again, on the flip side, there are people who never purport to be role models, and
Rihanna, she says all the time, I wasn't here to be your role model.
Yeah.
So good point. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like you can't get as mad at them because they never put themselves out there as role models, so that they don't disappoint you then.
Yeah.
I think it's a great excuse, but in the end, when you're coming into the limelight, it's already there that you are
a role
model. You're going to have an impact on people, and if you do, and you're doing something that's totally against like morals,
and
you could hurt a large mass of people, and so you should really consider that as being a superstar.
And it also assumes that you have, again, good morals to begin with, because some people don't
consider them anymore.
Yeah, some people don't claim to have good morals. I mean, a number of rappers, for example, rap about things that we don't deem to be a great way to
like
live
drugs.
One's life. Yeah, exactly. So they don't claim to have good morals to begin with, some people.
I mean, well, you were talking about Katy Perry. I feel like she's more of a reinvention. You know what I mean? I feel like she's constantly like reinventing herself, but I mean, not doing it in the best way, like cultural appropriation, not really cute. Like you should figure out a different way. But
I see what you mean, because she started with Christian pop and then moved on to this real pop star, pop star. But she was real. She had both her parents were in the church.
Yeah, her dad was like a
she grew up in the church, in the choir, and now she's singing "I Kissed a Girl" and I liked it. Do you think that's her being
rebellious?
Rebellious.
I could see a rebellious streak from her. I feel like, I don't know, like maybe she just wanted to be a different person, and I feel like maybe that's what we're trying to get at with all of these people that we were talking about before. Like maybe they just want to be different people. People are allowed to change, you know what I mean? Like and I feel like when you have like this status as a celebrity, it's almost looked at as like you have to be the same person, but you still have to come out with new stuff. You still have to give people what they want before they know that they need it. You know what I mean? And it's hard because human beings are constantly changing. Nobody should be stagnant, because if we're stagnant, we die, in my opinion. And I feel like sometimes people don't give everyone the credit that they deserve of, you're allowed to change, you're allowed to develop, you're allowed to change your mind. But I mean, in the same vein, like there are certain people like Hillary Clinton who she changes her mind about everything just to appeal to like the people that she wants to vote for her, and she uses the people who she wants to vote for her as props. And that's selling out, in my opinion, when you're changing your mind just to pacify a large group of people and using them for that pacification. Like there's a very fine line in which like there's between selling out and being an authentic person and changing with the times, you know?
For example, changing with the times, Hillary Clinton's views on gay marriage has changed drastically. She supports it now. So
I feel like, I don't know, with some older people, I don't think that they necessarily support it. Actually, my mom was like, "Oh, did you hear about this person?" And I was like, "Oh, what about them?" And she's like, "Oh, they're gay now." And I was like, "All right, like why is that news to me?" You know what I mean? Like it doesn't really matter to me, because it's not me who's getting in their bed, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't really matter to me. And she's like, whatever makes them happy. And I mean, my mom is from another country, like a Catholic country, let alone, where they're just like, absolutely not. Why do people have to be gay? Whatever, you know? But now it's like, it's more of like, you don't give a reaction, or like you don't give that satisfaction of that uproar of like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And people eventually are like, oh, if you don't care, there's no reason for me to care. And that's why I feel like it is.
I feel like the millennials are way more accepting to differences in people, and they understand that there are differences, and it's good to not judge. It avoids any, violence too. I mean, and then there's the people who are really just hardcore in their views, like, no, you should actually believe what I believe, and I think that's wrong, because we all have different views.
Absolutely.
But okay, so our cultural stigmas, are they like for reality TV? I see that a lot.
What do you mean cultural stigmas? I'm confused.
Cultural stigmas, for example, people being rude, obnoxious, ghetto fighting, it kind of supports these stigmas about certain groups of people. And I hate when I see it promoted on TV because it doesn't help it. I love seeing positive images like, for example, the show Blackish. I think that we should have more of that out there.
But at the same time, like, there is a duality to things. Like, I mean, my parents would always get so mad at me when I would watch, like, Flavor of Love or, like, Rock of Love and stuff like that.
I love Flavor of Love, though.
The excuse that I would use with them every time, and I was like, I'm watching this show so I know how to not act. And, I mean, they would completely, like, throw it out, and they'd be like, you're ridiculous, shut up, turn it off. But I mean, it's a very good example about how not to be. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, we don't have those good things like Blackish without this bad thing like reality TV that shows people being explosive and unnecessary. You know what I mean? Like, because if there was only Blackish, you know what I mean? I feel like people would kind of get bored because it's like, oh, like good family values, congratulations.
And that's why I proposed the idea of the reality TV is what's put out there, because do the consumers, do they have any control in the artistry and what we see out there? Because then we're controlling what is normal or what is authentic. We're going to be given that. We're not going to be giving bullcrap music, just saying anything. We're going to give something with more message if we don't support it, you know?
But there are also some people who don't really care about a message. You know what I mean? I feel like you and I, all of us here, definitely care about a message. But there are some people who literally don't care about the message in music. There are people I know who don't care about music. And I think it's the crazy
Okay,
thing.
let me kind of clarify it. I love a good beat too.
Right.
And I love artistic stuff, weird stuff where I'm trying to question what does that mean. But I mean where you're saying something that's unethical or purposely putting out lies. Like Donald Trump.
Yeah, I mean, that's unnecessary, and I completely agree
something that's
with
not helping.
Yeah.
You know, when could the people take control of that? So it won't be acceptable.
There's also another question of, is art and art TV shows supposed to be presenting a model for how we should be living? Or are they supposed to be just a reflection, a mirror of what's going on?
And entertainment.
Well, that's a good question, but that's honestly all the time that we have today.
Oh my gosh, that went by quick.
We actually didn't get to do the mystery topic. I'm sad.
We don't have time for mystery topic?
No, we do not.
Unfortunately.
But we will see you guys next week. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to go on sevnetwork.com to check out our articles, and also on our YouTube page to check out our full clips.
Yes, and our Femme Spot Facebook page. Make sure you guys check it out, and we'll see you guys next week at 11.